Hi everyone. It's been a while since I've made a video, and that's basically just because I didn't have anything to report or show until um, Saturday night. I was out shooting a video of the moon. I went ahead and I bought the new, I don't know if it's new or not, but it is to me, the Coolpix um, B700 camera, which is supposed to shoot in 4K quality. Um, so it's supposed to be super high resolution. And the only difference between it and my P900 is that it shoots in RAW format, and the zoom isn't as great as the P900. P900 has 83 times zoom, and this one only has 60. But still, even with the 4K resolution, you get pretty good quality. So anyway, I was out shooting some video of the moon, and as you can see here on the screen, this is not the sun, this is the moon. Um, and what I did was I angled the camera so that I could kind of overexpose the moon and see what was actually underneath. Uh, Not that I was expecting to catch anything, but lo and behold, I did. Uh, Quite a bit of stuff. So just want to go ahead and show this to you. Let me back this up a little bit and make it full screen. Okay, so what I've done, I've put this into Final Cut, and I have brought the exposure up to really bring out some of the details of the stuff that's moving um, here in the darkness. Now, when I was just focusing on the moon, and the moon was perfectly in focus, and I could see the craters and everything, couldn't see any of this stuff flying around. It was only after I just kind of tilted the angle of the camera and got the moon to overexpose itself could I see all this stuff flying in the darkness below. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and advance frame by frame. There's something here that's floating down, something over here. Now, I don't know, these might be birds, but I'm pretty sure that the majority of these aren't, because there's just so many. Now, this object right here that just came shooting across, there's another one. There's an object here, or I say object. There's something there. There's something right here, 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 and they're all moving, different directions. But that one's traveling pretty fast. Now, as I advance, here comes another one. This object is, I mean, it's trucking it across the sky. Let me back it up here. And it looks to be fairly good size. It doesn't appear to be changing shape, so it leads me to believe, it's not lens distortion that's creating that streak for the most part, because it looks to be pretty long. So I'm just going to advance forward. And what's interesting is more. Now here comes something else closer to the screen. This might actually be a bug close to my camera, because it's just blurry and out of focus. And that is a bug. It's close to the screen. As I advance this, you'll see that these objects that I'm talking about are really lit up. And some of them just appear to just drop from the moon. Now here comes two. Those were very light. I don't know if you can see those or not. But here's one. Here's one. And as I advance, they kind of get lost in the resolution, but So I'm just going to keep going here. That's a bug. That's really blurry, so I know that's close to the camera. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's very faint, moving right there. Yeah, that's a bug. So let's see, we got a few more seconds to go here. Okay, here's where it really starts to pick up. So here's another object that appears to be pretty long or large. I mean, look at the length. And then here's an object that just, as I was saying, just appears to just drop. And then here's another one that just shoots right by it. I mean, like super close. And and you can tell that the speeds are different. Like that large object was just trucking right on by. You can see the two right here together. And again, this is the moon. This is not the sun. And I can show you that here in just a second. I kind of started the video towards the end because that's where the most activity was. So this is just dropping down. Here comes another object or something. And this goes on for quite a while. There's something over here. Now, this is interesting right here. I want to show you guys this. Back it up. There's two somethings coming from the moon. This bright object right here, I think, is some sort of lens distortion or lens flare created from this object because they move together. And this object right here, again, is, that's a pretty good size, compared to the moon. But this right here, I think, is it's a lens flare that's reflecting off of this object, which leads me to think that it's metallic. And as it's moving, here's another object that comes over here. That's that same one from just a second ago I pointed out. And this one's moving. I mean, these just sort of seem to float. They move much slower. And there's one coming up here. We're at 3 minutes and 41 seconds. It's right around 3 minutes and 42 seconds. And this object or something is right here. And this is, look how large this thing is, guys. This is huge. And again, it's not changing shape. So it doesn't, it just leads me to believe that it's not, leaving a streak that's creating that length. It's consistent the whole entire way. And that's just huge. And then it just gets lost in the darkness. I'll back it up. But that's really good size, guys. I mean, but again, I have no idea what this stuff is. That's huge. And then here's something trailing after it. Here comes another bright object. And again, that looks fairly good size. Not as large as the other, obviously, but still. And then, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. There's something that dropped. Here's another one that comes flying across. And I want to show you, here's another one. It's like super bright. And then it's weird because it just gives this impression that they're coming from the moon. Here's another one coming down, and again, it doesn't change shape. Here's another one. This right here, I believe, is a bird, just from its movement, because I have this set on a tripod, and the fact that it's fluctuating up and down the way that it is indicates to me that it's the flapping. Could be a bat too, but it's wings flapping. That's why it gives that impression that it's bouncing up and down. But here's right here. This is where it starts. This object here at the very top. It just seems to just, I don't know. It's weird. It just seems to just float down, and you can see it. And something shoots across here, which could be I'm sure, probably a bug close to the camera. But these objects are far away. Here's another one. And it's just, and here's something, I mean, this is really bright. This one is really, really bright. And it's, again, just doing the same thing that this one's doing. It's just kind of floating down. Now, I'm advancing this frame by frame. This isn't the actual speed, obviously. And here comes another one. And they just straight lines, just straight down until they get lost in the darkness down below. Here comes another one. That's something close to the lens that's shot across. And they're just floating down. I'm going to advance this a little bit. Actually, let's back that one up. Yeah. See, I mean, they're just traveling in straight paths. So, I don't know. I mean, could these be the thousands and thousands of satellites that they say that we have up in space zipping by? I don't know. But pretty sure that those large objects that went by are not satellites. Don't know what they are, but I don't think they're satellites. So I'm just going to kind of advance this. Here's another bright one. Let's back it up. And it's coming from the moon, and it's just going. If you hear that snoring in the background, it's our pugs. And what's happening is, I have the camera on a tripod, and so it's just focused in that area underneath the moon, and of course the moon's moving as the Earth's rotating. That's why it's disappearing off the screen up here at the top. And I can't remember if there's another one here at the end or not. Just move this forward some more. Here's something coming here. Again, it's just sort of floating. Here's one shooting across. There's another one that just basically cut right in front of it. They almost hit. It's weird. I have no idea. Like I said, I have no idea what these are. I just thought it was interesting that I was able to catch them. Here comes one. I just advanced it a little bit further. And as you can see, it's just, some are super fast, and theirs are just, moving really slow. They have no place to go. Just gonna move it forward some. Now there is something over here I just now saw. Now this is interesting. I've never saw this before. This object right here is just stationary. It's just sitting there. I'm wondering, now that I think about this, here comes something shooting across right here. It's so faint. I don't even know if you guys can see that or not. It's right here, moving across. This possibly, this might actually just be a star, now that I think about it. That's showing up. Here's another one that's just dropping, just moving really, really slow. Okay, that's the end of the video. Just to show you guys that it is the moon. Let me just back it up. And as you can see, even further back, there were objects that I was catching. Um, and I mean, look, here, here, here. It was when I can't even talk. It was when I was adjusting the camera. Uh, let's back it up here because you can see that the moon's overexposed. But you can see the craters up here. I was trying to get it into focus and get the proper exposure, but as I was moving the camera around on the tripod, trying to get it steady, look at this. Whatever this is, I mean, that is bright. And I think this jerky movement that you're seeing is from me moving the tripod. Because, I mean, you can see all this stuff. There goes more. I mean, it's through this entire video. Just, here's one. Here's one. I mean, I don't know, if these could be birds. I mean, I don't know. The movement, there was so many. And here's the thing, too. The next night, I went out and tried to shoot the exact same thing in the exact same way and didn't catch anything at all. Nothing. It was just complete, darkness. Not even, anything that I even remotely thought was a bird. So, again, like I said, I have no idea, but there's tons. Here's one. Here's one. Just as I move this along, and of course, that shakiness up until the point where I get it somewhere here. Here. Look at this. I mean, look how bright that is. So right until I get to about, I think maybe here, that I just got it steady and then just let it sit and didn't move the camera at all. But what I'm going to do at this point, I'm just going to play this so you can see how fast these things were moving. And that large one that I showed you is moving so fast that if you don't go frame by frame, you don't even begin to get or comprehend the size of it because it's just moving too fast. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit play and let you guys see this as it happened in real speed. Okay, so yeah, that was everything moving, in full speed or real speed as it was filmed. Um, Something that my brother pointed out too was that the proximity of these objects to the moon, um, they appear to be much closer to the moon than they are to me because of the brightness. Um, so, that's a good indication that they're closer to the moon than they are to us, which makes me think, again, how could they be birds or, obviously insects close to the screen are going to be blurry, but I just don't think insects that far away are even going to show up. So that's something to consider. One thing I did want to show was a couple of photos that I took um, of the moon, and here we go. And I find this really really interesting. These were two separate nights that I shot this, and I put these into Photoshop and I rotated them so I could show you. And I took the two and layered them on top of each other and tried to match up everything as best as I could. Um, wasn't It's not 100%, but it is close enough. So what I wanted to show you is, let me just zoom in here. First of all, this is the moon. I've tilted it to the side because when it was photographed, it was more like that there. Um, but as I was looking at this image, I noticed something, and it's weird to me how the moon seems to change the way that it looks, and I'll show you what I mean here. But first of all, check this out. I'm zooming in, and I just want you guys to know I'm at 689 percent zoomed in. But check this out right here. Look at these. What are these two things just sticking up off the moon? I mean, that's just crazy to me, the way that these are. And there's two of them just side by side. And what I thought was even stranger is this area right here, how it appears to be straight lines. This is straight, this is straight, this is straight. It just, I mean, that's very weird to me. The thing is, the photo that I took uh, the night before, I mean, I'm just going to make a line here just to show you, but I mean, that's fairly straight right there. Whoops. If I move it, you know, right there, this appears to be a straight line. Right where I've moved it, that appears to be straight. So I don't know. It's just weird how that looks. But whatever this is, they obviously, I mean, this is this is weird. I mean, it's just sticking straight up, and they've got to be huge, whatever these things are. Let me just throw that away. And again, if I zoom out, even from a distance, you can still see them sticking up there. So, zoomed out even more, you can still, they're still sticking up. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, what doesn't make even more sense, let's zoom back into this area, is how this whole entire area looked the day before. Everything is completely different. Now, I'm just going to come over here real quick and show you this crater is this crater. Now, this image isn't as good of quality because I had just gotten the camera and I was just figuring out how to use it, so I was just out there shooting pictures and wasn't giving much thought to how I was shooting them. So, but I just wanted to show you how I've, tried to match this up. So, this whole dark region right here. So if I turn the layer on underneath, you can see there's a slight bit of rotation between the two. If I just turn it off and on, but not a whole lot. There's not much difference. Okay, you can definitely tell it's the same region of the moon, and there's just a slight bit of, you know, curvature. This whole shadowed area right here is this whole area right here. But I want to show you okay, so again, here's those objects sticking up. My dog is snoring in the background, or dogs, I guess. So yeah, here's the two objects. Here's that area I was telling you about. And I'm going to turn the other layer on, but then I'm going to turn that layer off with the object sticking up so you can see what it looked like the night before. And that makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, let's turn the top layer off. This whole area completely changes. I mean, let's take the day before, or the day after, or no, sorry, the day before is this layer. I'm just going to call this day before so I don't confuse you guys. And we're going to call this day after. Okay, so the day before, I mean, this is a crater, this is a crater, this is a crater. And let's turn the day after on so they're on top, layered on top of one another, and then turn the day before off. How does it change this much? I mean, look at this. This is all completely in black. Turn that off, turn that on. I mean, how does the landscape even match up? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that this crater right here will look like this the next day. And I know that, shadows play a large role in this, but it just doesn't make any sense. And it makes you wonder, like, when the light's hitting it without the shadows, like, how tall is the rim of this crater for it to... I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. That just doesn't make any sense. This whole area right here, this whole thing right here, I mean, this looks like, I don't know, like the end of a hammer or something, and this is the middle part, the handle's sticking through the top. But the day before, you don't have any of that. Nothing. Let's turn that back on. I mean, look at this. I understand this is a shadow, but what's sticking up here that creates this shadow that we're not seeing here? And the shadows can't... I don't know. You guys have a look. I mean, it just boggles my mind. You know, again, here's this ridge, and here it is the day before. And like I said, I've tried to match it up as close as I can. Here's this ridge, which is this ridge, but just look at the drastic change in the landscape from one night to the next. And this right here, I mean, this has to be sticking up fairly tall. I mean, that's just, it appears to be, and yet the day before, nothing. It just boggles the mind completely. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does the moon change its appearance? Is it possible for the shadows to make that much difference, like that much drastic difference. It's just bizarre to me. Very, very bizarre. But again, I mean, this to me, this looks like two spires sticking up in out of something that is kind of curving around it. And if this is the rim of this crater, then how does it give this appearance? And what is all this crap inside? I mean, it's bizarre to me. It's just really, really bizarre. And just the way all of this looks, all of this landscape here, compared to the day before. And I know the resolution is slightly different. Um, let's just zoom out here and let's look at this area. So let's see. Day before, and obviously the sun and the position has changed. Day after, we're in complete darkness, so we can't even see it. But look at the landscape around it. I mean, how much more it appears to stick out. And here's something else I'm just now seeing, which is weird. Look at this. Speaking of spires, look how this appears to be jutting straight up. That is really weird. In order for the light to hit it, this has to be taller than the other areas, I would assume. I mean, that's what logic is telling me. Um, and again, if I put these two layers on top of one another, you can kind of see right here. I mean, I've matched that crater close enough with the other one. These are slightly off, but these were shot 2 different days, and obviously the camera's not going to be in the same position when I shot it. Um, but I've gotten it as close as I could. I mean, you can just tell from this area here, from photo to photo, uh, that I'm close enough that it just doesn't make sense for all these weird shadows and the different structure and the way the landscape is different. So anyway, I will stop rambling and let you guys form your own opinions, and definitely leave me some comments and let me know what you think, because I just think this is really, really strange, and especially now that I see these areas, that looks really bizarre to me, and then definitely these these two things sticking up here, and just the way this all looks. So anyway, tell me your thoughts. Interested to see what you guys have to say. So talk to you later.